Okay guys, I just want you to know this isn't my only clothing that I have in my closet. It's just my favorite suit, okay? And you know, I know I'm not a white collar worker, but in some ways I'm considered one, all right? We got a call from the customers here that own this rental property, and they said that the tenant was complaining about honey dripping through the ceiling in her kitchen. First thing I do is throw up a ladder, get up on the roof. I see there's 4 small cuts or openings in the roof, which was kind of strange because usually when you remove a hive, you'll have one pretty large opening that's big enough to gain access to the entire cavity where the hive is built inside the roof structure. This was more like a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle. Then when I went in the kitchen and checked that out, there was honey that was still dripping out of the cracks in the ceilings. This home was built in the 30s and it's a plaster lathing, so the way it's designed is when you get a lot of liquid inside that area, you'll have honey or water, it'll drip through the little cracks inside the plaster lathing. And the tenant that was living here, in fact, I was talking to him and he said it was much worse when they were removing it because they were trying to scrape the hive out of a very small opening, and it was basically smashing the honeycomb, and the honey was running inside of the roof cavity. This is the result of an inexperienced person. There's no reason why it should be cut open like this. Basically, it should have been an opening about 2 feet by about 2 feet. It should have been one nice big opening like that. And I'll show you guys, I'm getting ready to get on it right now. I'm going to go ahead and cut it open, and you're going to see how it should have been opened the first time. This is their work here.
With the studs?
Yeah, the studs that you see put in there. That's not part of the roof. I'll show you how I know. Just show you something real quick. These are the studs to the house here. This one, okay. You have another one up here. So what they did, normally what you'll do is you'll go in, you'll make your cut, you'll go across so you feel resistance, okay? When you feel the resistance and you know that's where the stud's at, then you drop your saw blade in. And it doesn't matter if you're in here because then they can cut on center. They see the stud, they know this is an old house, so it's 2 inches by 4 inches, it's a solid 2 inches because it's an old house. Then you would go to the center of this stud here, and when you go to the center of this stud, what these guys did is this is their work. They just dropped the screws in there, put these in here. This is their work, and this looks like reclaimed wood. This isn't even real wood. They're taking wood either off of other jobs they're scavenging, or this is just old wood that they got from. They didn't even, looks like they didn't even buy this. You know.
Took it from next door neighbor's yard.
Yeah, probably. But you can see now you get a real picture of how much honey ran in here. This is dry wood here. All of this is wet, all the dark stuff. So all that honey ran down. He said in his kitchen area, this is where the hive was going. And here's their bee proofing. Look at this. This is their bee proofing here, okay? That's good for rodents and mice and rats, but you wouldn't do this with a bee proofing to stop bees. This ain't gonna stop bees. So this is.
So that was in that vent?
Yeah, that's the opening right there. And you don't want it plugged up. What they did is they plugged it up. You want to leave these open. Those are there for a reason. It's ventilation for the roof. But there's some live bees in there. They're trapped. They're trying to get out. What I had here is a guy came out, an unlicensed company, an unlicensed individual, and he basically made a bunch of small openings, as you saw from the previous clip, and tried to pull out probably a 40-pound hive, 50-pound hive out of this roof. Instead of opening it like this, doing one nice big opening, and he would have lifted the wood off the roof, and then the hive would have been hanging off the plywood or off the underside of the redwood like a lid. So you lift it off and say this is the hive. You lift it up, and then the hive's hanging on the underside. Then you might get a few drops of honey in there, but it's not going to run all over the ceilings. It's not going to be a substantial amount. It's just going to be a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 ounces of product that might go down inside of there. That's not enough to cause the kind of problems. You can look in here and you can see how much honey soaked inside of this thing. This thing was sizable. I mean, you can see that there's honeycomb attached to here, okay? And they opened it all the way back here, which is fine, but they should have done a run along this front parapet, and they should have tried to go on the center of these roof rafters that are already here, but instead they scabbed in their own reclaimed wood, and they sealed it up with a silicone, which is basically a window and door type silicone. It's not even designed for a roof, so in the hot summer months the product would have broke down, because this is where all the water runs too, because right here's the drain right behind me. You can see where all the sediment and the soot goes. I showed a roofer this, a professional roofer, and he said, dude, that thing's going to totally leak. And I said, yeah, I know, we're going in after this other company, we're cleaning it up. It's important that you get someone who A, is experienced and licensed, that knows what they're doing, because they wouldn't have done a small opening, and they wouldn't have tried to pull a 50-pound hive out of a small opening. They would have made a nice big opening. They would have lifted it like Todd and I do all the time. We pull out, monster hives. We make one big opening, we lift it, we scrape all the hive, and you might, like I said, you might get 3 or 4 or 5 ounces of product that drips down in there, but that's not going to be substantial enough to cause any leaking inside the structure. And then with the heat, then what you got is you get the wax. It's really warm up in the attic, so that'll cause the honey to run even more so, because the wax gets soft and it starts melting, and when you're trying to pull it out, it's just breaking apart and causing all that honey to run. Okay, I'm glad we got this. This was one of their openings. Okay, this is what they were going to try to pull, like say a 50-pound hive, 40 to 50 pounds or more of honey out of this roof, out of an opening this big, okay? Now you can imagine a hive that goes back from where the comb is to where the honey runs. You got a 2.5 foot, 24 inch, 28 inch hive, and they're going to try to pull it out of that right there. Hey you guys, what we're going to do now, we've got the roof open, we've got the honey and dead bees vacuumed out, and we scraped out any wax that we're able to. Now we're on the downside here, and we're going to go ahead. If you see the vent hole here, they shoved this plastic bag in there, and there was some other debris, some chicken wire, and they basically plugged up the whole vent. Now this isn't going to stop them from getting in, because it's not a smooth flat surface, and the other thing is it's going to impede the flow of air through the attic area. It's not going to allow the roof to breathe and vent properly. So not only does it not keep bees and wasps from entering ever again, it also doesn't allow the roof to vent properly. So it's a double no-no. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put this on. This is 1/8 inch screening. I'm going to pull up there. I'm going to push it on there. It's going to create a silhouette of the vent, and then I'm going to custom cut it to fit on there. And then I'm going to place that over the vent, and that's going to stop bees from ever getting into this vent again. Yeah, if the homeowner decides down the road he wants to bee-proof the whole roof, he can, but we're focusing on the main problem here. But this is the way you want to do it, not this. These are used for garbage and for honey and stuff, debris that you're pulling off the job. It's not used as part of the material for the job. And then as far as the cost, that's another thing a lot of people want to know when they go into it. They go, why is the cost all over the place when it comes to certain professions, especially in the bee profession? Well, because there's a lot of amateurs and there's a lot of newbies at it, no pun intended, that are not licensed, that don't have the experience and knowledge to know how to properly bid the job. They'll come out, they'll look at a job, and they'll just say, oh, I'm only going to be there for an hour, when it should really take about 2.5 to 3.5 hours or longer. And they also don't look at the potential problems that can occur on the job and bid that into the bid as well. If you look down in here, you can see how much honey ran inside the ceiling. The damage that they did to the ceiling, if they have to get pulled out, that's another couple thousand. So you've got $2,000 worth of damage at least, very minimum, because they didn't know what they were doing. When you go to hire a professional person, the main thing you want to look for is you want to make sure that they're licensed, you want to make sure that they're experienced, and that they're bonded and insured, all that. Because if they don't have the credentials, then you really don't want to go there with them. You really want to stay away from that kind of individual. If you go online, you can check out all their credentials real easy and see if they have the licensing and insurance and all that. The other thing is you can look at their prior work. You can ask for referrals. Ask for maybe 5 or 6 referrals, residential, commercial. Get a good mix, and then do the follow-up work and find out about these people.